Hello everyone, welcome to episode 3 of How to Gwynn. I want to introduce my coaching staff. On my left here we have Landon Burt and Kennard Jones. On my right here we have Tim Spooner and Brandon Decker.
Like when walking down the street and somebody asks us what makes Gwynn Baseball different, what makes us different?
Well, I think the workouts for one make us different. I don't know of anybody else who's doing that. And you add the physical therapy portion of it. I think, kids playing year-round baseball at that young age, I think that those two things are just as important as the playing element. I mean, baseball isn't your most natural, throwing baseball isn't your most natural thing for the body to be doing. I think those things are vital.
I think it's completely different. I think what this is going to offer is completely different than anything. Not only just in San Diego, but as a whole. I think it's flipping the mentality completely on what youth sports should be. And I don't think youth sports, it's kind of got away from, hey, these kids are still growing, they're still developing, the bones are growing by the day. Everything is, they're not the finished product. So why should we structure a program that way? It needs to be something where the program evolves with them.
Right.
And they're given tools to evolve.
And I think that's essential, more than anything. They need to see the big picture. I think we need to, make sure that we paint a visual of where they're trying to go, what direction they want to go, what baseball can offer them. Not only just at this level, but I think if they have a picture of where they're trying to go as far as college and knowing that they can get an education, a good education, a sound education through the baseball environment, I think that's a huge builder on their foundation and really understanding that they need to give their best commitment, their best foot forward to be able to attain where they want to go. I think those are some big things that we can apply.
Yeah, and I think a huge part for all of us, right? We didn't learn about the physical therapy, working out, nutrition until most of us were in college, right? And what our program is going to bring to not only youth is the nutrition side, the physical therapy, how the kids should move their body, all at a very young age, where we didn't learn it until we were in college. And now 8 and 9-year-olds are going to be taught how to develop muscles in ways that they didn't know they had, and eating the right way. And really on top of that, being around the best coaching staff that I think is in San Diego County. So.
Not only that, especially when you're talking about the 8 and 9-year-olds, just movement patterns. We're not even talking about getting stronger. We're talking about just being able to do movements correctly, whether it's changing directions, whether it's skipping. You'd be surprised how many 8 and 9-year-olds can't properly do that. So.
Oh, not only that, just even thinking about that, some of the kids, the game is changing. It's this is year-round baseball, and coming up, being on the East Coast, I never got an opportunity to play year-round baseball. So that wear and tear, just coming from even when you get into the college games, from 56 games in a season. These kids travel ball and playing that, if not more, on multiple teams. So I think this program is going to be awesome to be able to teach not only the player, the student athlete, but the parents also. There's so many parents
That's what I think one of the biggest things is this is going to give, I think it's going to take the mentality to all these parents that, the emphasis needs to be on not only growing on the field, but also growing off the field, learning how to take care of yourself, learning how to be in the best shape that you can all year round, so you can play these games year round. It's not, well, how many at-bats did your son get that weekend? Or how many innings did he get to throw? Or what did he hit that fall?
Right.
That's not the emphasis at all. It's almost the opposite.
And the mental piece is going to be a big component of what we're doing with Gwynn Baseball. I think a lot of kids, they get out, but they don't understand why they got out.
Right.
They took a bad swing, but they don't know exactly why they took a bad swing. And I think the mental side, that old saying, every time you fail, you're getting closer to succeed. I think that's so true. We have to fail. We have to do things wrong first to understand what we did to make the correction. So I think the big piece of Gwynn Baseball and what we're going to be teaching these kids is, shoot, it's okay to get out. It's okay to strike out. Because we're going to teach you why why it happened, and how you can correct it moving forward.
And I think the last and biggest piece of all this, one is what is the name, right, that will be on the jersey. It's the Gwynn name. It's teaching the Gwynn way of baseball. It's how all of us here were taught how to play, do things the right way, and to teach our kids, you know, at this early age to be Gwynn baseball players and teach them that that's how the game should be played.
Right. I mean, forget San Diego. How many programs in the nation? I mean, how many years of baseball, professional baseball, went into how this program is going to be run?
It's gotta be at least over 30, you know, and that's, I mean, and that's not combining even everybody in here,
Right.
you know?
So, how this program is going to be run through, you know, what your dad and your uncle have done, I mean, it's just, it's something that very few have the opportunity to learn.
I also think the information is so valuable. I truly wish, you know, they always say you wish you knew now. You know, you knew then, but you know now. And, you know, hindsight of that is, you know, understanding how to be a better person, I think, more than anything. And, you know, through training with Tony and the impact that he put on my life, man, I mean, goodness gracious, the character building more so than anything, building that foundation. And baseball brings so much of that dynamic. And, you know, Tony was just a master at being able to master his emotions, you know, and carry himself on the baseball field the way he did. You know, it's important for those kids to understand how he carried himself. And I think that's huge in just in winning, doing it the right way. You know, that's pivotal. Here's the question: What motivated you guys? What motivated you guys to continue to push forward in the game? Like, you know, baseball is not an easy game, and there's a lot of sacrifice that you have to make in this game. And you know, these kids have to understand. You know, how can we channel that? I think everybody's story is important for these kids, and a piece of us, Tony's had a piece of all of that. And I think our story and the way we walk in the game's touched us all. So, you know, what piece of that motivation, what motivated you guys to play the game and keep going?
I'll tell you what Brandon and I was, we had a chip on our shoulder. People told us we couldn't. So you take some of those words and you want to prove people wrong through competition.
I think at some point, I think all of us have had that chip on our shoulder. I don't know when it starts to develop. I think to some extent you're naive about that kind of thing until you hit a certain age, and then you realize, wait a minute, I don't think I can actually play. And then it becomes a chip. And I think you have to kind of you know, harness that, especially when you start to see a kid recognize that he has one and that it's motivating. You kind of gotta know how to harness that so that he can use it the right way. Because a chip can spin out of control every once in a while, you know.
You remember when I think when we were in high school, they started using the term the walk-off. Like the walk-off was big, so I always wanted to be the dude in the middle of that walk-off.
Right.
And I always wanted to get to that point, you know, and just kind of be at the end of it going, yeah, just this is a competition piece. You know, that was the fun part, trying to get to that point.
I think everybody kind of hits that niche to push forward when the first time is at any age, right? When the first time somebody says, like, you're not good enough, or you're not going to start today, or you're not going to play today. And as soon as that sinks in for the first time, because again, at our young ages, I'm assuming everybody in this room is probably the best youth-wise, right? And it really didn't happen. It really didn't happen. I think for me is when I was a freshman in high school, I made the JV team, but I didn't start. And I was like, okay, well, what's going on? Like, you know, thought I was good up until this point, and that's kind of like what pushes you forward, you know. But I know the biggest piece from Tony's side for me was my education. Like, I think he told me a story one time that nobody actually physically asked them to go to their graduation, and he sat right next to my parents, like, during graduation, and his big thing was just school. Like, when you get out of this and when baseball's all said and done, you're going to have, like, this education. And that was just, like, for me, that was a huge thing to push forward through college baseball, and then everything else after that was just icing on the cake, you know?
I think, you know, learning how to develop a mindset of constantly trying to get better. I know for me, you mentioned making JV your freshman year. I played freshman my freshman year. I played JV my sophomore year. I didn't make varsity till I was a junior. So it wasn't like I was the standout kid. I had to kind of work to get to the point where I could even play on varsity. And once I got that taste, then it was like the engine never really stopped going. At that point, it was like, okay, I could do this. And then you go out and you have a little success, and you're like, I want to keep working. I feel like I'm getting better, and you just kind of snowballs that from that point.
That big saying of somebody's outworking you, and there's always somebody better.
Yep.
So like you think that you're pretty good, but there's somebody that's working harder than you right now, and that there's somebody who's better.
And that's
so
what
for me,
that's what I didn't like, was the fact that there was a period of time from like 9 to 12 where I didn't have to play baseball. I knew that I was going to be one of the best players. And then like from like 12 to about through high school, when I started playing basketball more and baseball wasn't my main focus, everybody caught me and passed me. That's a terrible feeling when you go from being like the dude to being just another kid on the field,
Another guy in line.
And at that point, that's when that chip kind of took over. It was like, okay, I'm gonna put in as much work as everybody else, and then we'll see what the playing field looks like at that point.
Yeah.
And the earlier that gets installed in your mind, it's just, I don't want to say, it consumes the wrong word, but it just changes your mentality.
Right.
It gives everything a goal. You have a goal for everything. Why am I working out today? Why am I going to practice? Why am I doing this? Am I going because my parents are making me and I'm dropping off? That's not what we're looking for. You want the kid that's out there that is there for not even for the right reasons. They're there for themselves.
They want to be out there.
For themselves.
Yeah.
But listen to when you were talking about like when this sped up for us and when this wanted to go fast, we're going to be teaching this now at 8 and 9.
Right.
And by the way, this is elite travel. These are the best kids. So there's going to be a 9 and 10-year-old that's going to be told that they're not that good enough to start. And now we're going to start that fire that we always talked about at a young age. We're going to speed these guys up and get them so much more prepared for later on when that happens that the future is endless for them. That it's happening
And
now
that's the thing.
so
That's
much
the
younger.
thing.
I think
Getting ready for baseball in a later career does not mean play more games.
Yeah.
It does not mean
Go throw in more.
go throw more bullpens.
Yeah.
That is not how you get ready for the second part, what I call from your amateur to your college professional career. That's not how you get ready. That's not how you become a better player, is by doing that. You got to work hard. You got to get the swings. You got to get your arm in shape. I get all that. But it's all the other stuff. It's how you play the game. It's what you do on the field and off it.
It's all combined.
But I think at a young age, I think that's the developing a strong work ethic. I think for me, it was hard for me to work by myself. At a young age, it was always my dad. Like, John, did you just work in today? Did you get your swings in today? And I think one thing that stuck in my head with my dad is you'll know when you're good when I don't have to tell you to work. You'll know that you won it when I don't have to remind you of putting in the work and the effort. So I think that it is big for the kid to understand, like, if I want this, I gotta go get it. No one's gonna make you, swing the bat. No one's gonna make you want to go out in the backyard and work on your game. I think, if you want to be the best, you're gonna get exposed. You're gonna get on the field. You're gonna see other players, and it's kind of scary a little bit, but at the same time, I think that's good, the competition factor. When you jump in there and you actually see that you can compete and where the competition is, I think that's, for me, one of the biggest things that drove me. Because I definitely did play with a chip on my shoulder, I think. But baseball was like an avenue for me to kind of be somebody that I was almost like I could be a superhero on the field. I was brutal when I was 8, 9 years old. I couldn't get in the water if I fell off a boat, but through that failure, through struggling, God, baseball made me cry, baseball made me upset, baseball made me happy. It was like a love-hate relationship, and I couldn't understand that at an early age. I was always a late bloomer. And I think for, some of my passion and, teaching some of these kids is, it's all right to be upset at yourself, but don't be so hard on yourself.
Right.
Some of these kids are so serious, and the competition is so serious, especially with the parents. You know, oh, you gotta get out there and you gotta work. Oh, we spent all this money for you to hit now, hit right now. It's, you know, a lot of that parents, they really expect that from their kids, and it's like, yo,
And that's
work.
And that's the beauty of it, is that we can help in educating the parents as well as educating the kids. And you hit on something about working, Tim. I think about all the time, a lot of times kids don't mind working, but are they working right though? Are they creating a bad habit by taking 100 swings when they're not correct? Or are they actually knowing what they're doing when they're by themselves and they're taking swings? And that's eventually what we want these kids to be able to do, is when they leave us and they go home and, you know, they're going to the cage with their parents, they're self-ready. Like, they know how to keep their swing intact. You can have that at an early age. You can develop that at an early age. You don't need coaches all the
So
time.
that hit home for me. I mean, in high school, when your dad came out, he used to come out once a year, maybe right before beginning spot. And you see Tony Gwynn, professional, all these batting titles, and he's hitting off the tee, right? Tee. And he preached to us. I'm in the big leagues. I hit off the tee every day, you know, and it's like, that clicks when you see someone like that put in that much work, and it's not like they're hitting off live pitching. They're tee work. Put in the work. Put in the right work.
Right?
Yeah,
Put in the right
knowing how to work off the tee. I didn't know when I first met Tony. I didn't know how to work. I mean, I didn't go get my work hit off the tee. I would hit buckets and buckets of balls, but it wasn't. It was like madness. Yeah, I was just up there hacking, you know. And then, you know, you get in the game, it's just like see ball, hit ball. But I didn't know why. If I swung through a pitch or if I popped it up, I didn't know why I did that. And I think, you know, it was important, you know, that he taught me how to work. He taught me how to work the right way. So, you know, I think that's going to be huge in teaching the kids how to work the right way.